there were a lot of takeaway for international students. One is basically if you are looking for a climate which is as similar to that of India, where you don't want to go to an area where there is snow, then California State University, Monterey could be one of your choice. So one is climate. Second, basically, the approach that it's not only basically you are learning, but you're also giving it to the society. You are giving it to the society. And in that process also, you are learning more, okay, from that particular process. So that part is very good, that, that you are just not learning, you are also learning to become a responsible citizen. You are trying to understand how you give back to the society. The third factor that I found basically very, very interesting was, if you see the tuition fees, California location, prime location, very good climate, and in terms of location, if you see the cost, it's marginal. It's around $16,700 approx. So that's important, that if you are looking for affordable university, public university at a good location, then California State University, Monterey is the university that you can look for. The next important is the hands-on experience. Very, very important. What I tell to most of my students is, basically, if you're studying in India, we are more theoretical based, whereas in abroad, you are going to apply the knowledge. So hands-on experience will basically tell you that you are not learning, but also you are applying that knowledge in the industry, wherever, whatever you are learning for. So hands-on experience. The most important point that every basically Indian students or Asian students or basically international students will be looking at is the scholarship. I know I'm sure that everybody will not get scholarship, but if you are a good student and if you are looking at a fees of $16,000, the fees, the $7,000 to $14,000 means that good student can get approximately full scholarship, tuition fee scholarship, as good as that. $2,700 they may have to pay extra per year, which is nothing if you are academically very good, and or if you are otherwise, at least you can get 50% of the cost reduced. And then again, I'm come back to the point of location. Okay, California. So with California, with Silicon Valley, with all those things, job opportunities, when you're looking at the cost, the university that you're looking at is the most affordable public university, and you could apply it. And the last point that I want to stress at this particular point is, there is no requirement of SAT, there is no requirement of statement of purpose, letter of recommendations. What they require is just your academic grades. If your academic grades are good, then you are good enough to apply. And if you have already done some basically years of education, let's say college in India, and you want to apply for a transfer students, then transfer opportunities are also available. So wonderful, Brian. A lot of takeaways for a lot of international students. I'm sure basically, they would be very much interested to look at your university, go to your website, check the programs and see how it is. Okay. So now let's come to the decoding university webinar, which I just said a few points about the university, but I'm going to ask you a few questions so that things become a little clear with us. Right?
Please.
Thank you very much. Thank you. The first question basically that I want to ask is, you mentioned about the hands-on experience and as a part of the curriculum, okay, which is so important. So when a student is going to join your program, so at what stage they would be basically having this hands-on experience in these 4 years? How is it planned?
Yeah, so it's a mix of different things. So first of all, the service learning aspect, which is again is hands-on and giving back as you learn. You will take one of those classes during your first 2 years, during what's called our lower division years, during your freshman, sophomore year. You can take that your freshman year or your sophomore year, it doesn't really matter. So you might have some of that experience right away. And then you'll do another service learning class as an upper division student, as a junior or a senior. And so you'll have those experiences at that point. For an internship, so if you want to do an internship, students do need to be, from an immigration perspective, they need to have already been here for a year before they can apply for that internship experience. But typically, an employer is not going to hire you for an internship until you're, a junior or senior, that you've had some of that actual, learning, and you've learned already in your major. And so typically we're seeing those happen as junior, your third or fourth year students are doing those internships. And so that's the common time for those to happen. But then, as I mentioned, we also have the research center, so the UROCK opportunity. Students can really apply for that and be part of that from the very beginning. There's no time that they can't be part of that. So really, it's a mix. There's different opportunities all throughout that you're able to get that experience.
Perfect. So in case basically, some of the international don't understand the term, freshman is after your 12th, you're going for the, at the entry point, doing your 4 years of bachelor's. If you're going for sophomore, that's your second year of bachelor's. Junior is your third year of bachelor's, and senior is your last year of bachelor's, the fourth year.
Thank you. Absolutely. Yep.
What I wanted to talk about the research, UROCK.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful opportunity because research are normally available at the master's program, most of the universities, and they are not offered at the undergraduate level. So, when I'm talking about research, there are a few questions that are coming up in my mind. One, what all programs, research opportunities available? That's one. Second, can student get research assistantship or teaching assistantship, undergraduate students? Is it possible, or is it at the master's level? Can you tell us a little bit about the UROCK?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So UROCK is available really for any major, any program. There's some majors that are a little bit more leaning towards research than others, but really there's research in all of our majors, and we have students from all over the campus that have been part of UROCK. So there's no limit on the academic program of where that is, and what students want to study. They're able to do that. This is completely an optional program. So students who are not interested don't need to do it. It's just a really cool opportunity for students who are really looking to get a little bit more of that research experience. But there are not the research assistants. There's no funding for it necessarily, where they're not going to have a job or teaching as part of that, or doing getting funding for the research. But it is an opportunity for them to do that research and to get guidance from faculty and staff on how to do that research, and really it's a center that really equips students to start doing that research. So it's not just, oh yeah, what does that mean? I'm gonna go do research. No, the center is there to help guide students through that process. There's actually the CSU system. As I mentioned, we have the system of schools that we're part of. There's actually a research sort of contest every year where actually students put on their research, and some research symposium, and students do get some students there's like a award competition as part of that, and students do get some sort of scholarship money who really have great research and sort of win the competition, if you will. So there's ways to showcase your research, and to you're not just doing it in a box all by yourself, but you're getting help throughout the process and assistance through the process, and learning how to research, as well as some cool ways to distribute your research and show it off, and to potentially win some scholarship money.
Perfect. So, people who are interested in research can do the research at the undergraduate level itself. That's very important. And if you are really interested, then this is a good university, a public university that you can join, and you can take it up. The research opportunity, the UROCK that they have, is something that I found it very interesting, because when you're doing your research, you actually know how you are applying your thing, and how it works. Whether it works, you can think, and there's a guide to guide you, and that's wonderful. What's next important is your career service. You have a career service who is going to help you with the resume writing. I know you have internship opportunities. So does the career service helps in basically students in the internship, in the CPT, in the OPT process?
Yes, so the Career Center is very much guiding students towards getting those jobs. We do not place students. We do not say, okay, here's where you're going to go work, but we help students, guide them through that whole process. So whether you need help with, with editing or writing your CV or your resume, or whether you need help with, what's an interview like? And, because maybe you've done interviews in the past, but they're probably different, where you're from as opposed to United States, internship company. So, so they'll do like mock interview help, or let you learn a little bit more about how interviews work here in the United States. There's a career fair where we bring all these local employers, not just local, but national employers to campus as well. Actually, student companies looking to employ and recruit our students. So they do all of that work. With the assessments with CPT and OPT, we come into play there because there's a lot of immigration stuff involved. And so our office helps students with the immigration aspect of it, but the Career Center will help students with the actual finding a job and applying for jobs and everything like that. We also have a job board called Otter Jobs that employers can post job openings if they're that are directly looking to recruit our students. And so they'll actually post their jobs on there that our students are welcome and encouraged to apply for. So we maintain a job board there as well. Those jobs, as we're talking about careers and jobs as well, students are allowed to work on campus during your studies. We have a lot of on-campus jobs. We have an international student right now working in my office. We just hired, yesterday was her first day. So we love to hire international students, but not just in our office, all throughout campus, you're able to work. And that's also just a great way to help, fund your education, pay for things or whatever you need to do. Also beginning to get some work experience in the United States. There's no additional authorization you need. You're allowed automatically to work on campus. And so we help with that as well. And lots of different opportunities and help through the Career Center on getting jobs.
Perfect. So to all international students, I have to tell you that it's a little different, right? When you're going to US, it's not that basically you will, companies will come to you. You will have to go to the companies. You will have to show your interest. You will have to go to the department. You will have to meet the professors. If you don't go, nobody is going to come to your door and say, come in, there's a company waiting for you. Nobody is going to do that. So understand there's a lot of learning when you're going to go international, because you would have to make your decisions. You would have to be active. You will have to understand. You will learn the importance of networking skills. And once you are alone, you learn a lot of things yourself. When you are in the family, you are in a safety net. You don't learn much, but when you're alone, when you are with your friends, you learn from each other a lot. And that's where it is. So if you are active, if you're going to reach out, then you have all these facilities available for you and you can take the benefit of all of this. Perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah. Students definitely need to take the initiative to make some of that happen. We'll encourage you to do it. We'll remind you those things are there, but you have to be the one to really go out and make it happen. And you mentioned, working not only with the Career Center and things like that, but getting to know your professors, talking to your professors. Our professors all have office hours. They want to meet with students. Our professors are here at the CSU because they want to work hands-on with students. So getting to know your professors is going to be a phenomenal way to A, understand the material some more, B, understand a little bit more of the field and just what's going on. And also, they've got a lot of connections in companies and different things like that, and can help direct you as well, career-wise, and what you want to do and everything. So definitely when you come here, and yes, when each of you comes to the CSU Monterey Bay, really encourage you to reach out, get to know our office, get to know the Career Center, get to know your academic advisor, but also definitely don't be scared of your professors, get to know them. They are here to help you. They want to meet with students. They love meeting with students.
Perfect. CSU is a big brand, California State University, 20 plus campuses. It's a very big brand. It's the largest universities that we have. But what important Brian told right now is very, very important, that the student has to basically, the professors in US, they don't only teach, they do research. So they are also, or they are from the industry, they are with lots of experience. So they are updated. They know what's happening and they can give you the latest information. You can talk to them, you can network with them. They can help you in getting jobs or giving you contacts where you can reach out to people. So use them well, and this is your chance. This is your opportunity. Okay, I'll take one question from Vincent. His name, okay, fine. He wants to know the Brian Childs. What does the name mean?
Yeah. So honestly, I don't know the whole history, but my ancestry is English, Scottish, and Welsh. And so It's a sort of a mix of different things from there. I've been told that Brian means loyalty or loyal, but I think it was just something my parents picked. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's really much of a meaning behind it. And yeah, so but yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate that. So but yeah, I'll have to research that a little bit more.
Perfect. I'll go to the next stage, which basically is about CPT. A lot of people know about OPT, that after your program, you are allowed to stay back for 1 year, or if it's a STEM program, you're allowed to stay back for additional 2 years, so it becomes 3 years. But most of the students don't know CPT. What is curriculum practical training? How I can take the benefit of curriculum practical training? Will it affect my OPT chances? Can you just guide us on the CPT?
Yeah, so CPT is really designed, so they have similar names, CPT and OPT, but the big difference there is the curricular practical training versus the optional practical training. So and the meaning there is that CPT is designed for first of all, it's during your studies. It's not after you graduate. It's while you're a student. So it's actually part of your curriculum. So you need to be getting credit for it. And our internship class, we have internship classes. So if you do an internship, you will actually register as well for a class, and you'll get academic credit for that. So you'll get credit for this this curricular, this training program you're doing. So it's not just these CPT and OPT are not just work authorization, so you can go work at McDonald's or Burger King, or get a job somewhere off campus or drive an Uber. It is actual designed to be hands-on experience in your field. So you need to be getting credit for it. It needs to be in your field. So if you're a computer science student, you're going to go out and get an internship in computer science. You can then apply for this CPT program. Students are able to use OPT before you graduate, but most students don't want to do that because they want to keep that year, or again, that 2-year extension until after you graduate. So you've got that full time, you can extend your studies in the United States. So the main difference really between CPT and OPT are CPT is during your studies, and you have to be getting credit for it, or it has to be required part of your program. So for instance, our sustainable hospitality management program requires an internship experience for students. So therefore, since it's required, you can do it. If it's not required, as long as you're getting credit for it, as long as you are getting the actual academic credit for the experience, then you're eligible for it. It does not affect your OPT as long as you do not work for 12 months full time. I can tell you my history in the field. I've been in international education for 12 some years now. I've never had a student do 12 months of full-time CPT. So yeah, it's not going to affect your experience, because typically students are doing internships in in the summer. You might be full-time. Yeah, you're doing it for 3 months probably. Maybe you have internship in 2 summers. So maybe you're doing a 6 months total of internships full-time. We're nowhere close to affecting your OPT. And during the academic year, you're not doing a full-time internship, you're not doing a full-time CPT, you're on campus learning. And so basically, the only time it affects your OPT is if you work on CPT 12 months for full-time, then you lose your OPT. So you don't want to do that. But otherwise, has zero effect on it otherwise. So yeah, it's not going to affect you if you're just doing an internship for a summer or 2, or maybe during 1 semester you have a part-time internship. No effect on your OPT.
Perfect. So again, thank you. It's like basically doing your on-campus, off-campus jobs. You are doing PT jobs, but CPT is where you are going to work in the area of your specialization, whatever your specialization is. You are going to actually work in that area, get an experience, and use that experience you will get credits also for those things. So it's not just work, you will get credits. So it's count to your bachelor's degree. And most important, OPT is when you finish your program and when you want to work in the industry as a full-time, then you're working as an OPT. You mentioned a lot of programs. International students do look at STEM programs because it gives 2 additional years so that they can get more international work experience. Can you tell me which are the STEM programs, some of them which are in demand?
Yeah, so, and let me just share my screen for 1 more second. I'll pull up our science programs again, and Are you seeing my screen again?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so almost all of these programs, with the weird exception of our communication design, because this is a little bit more, brings us up art stuff. This is web design, visual design. So this program is not STEM eligible, but all these other programs are, environmental studies, I'm sorry, this one is not, but all of our environmental science program is, agricultural, plant and soil sciences, biology, computer science, stats, math, marine science. These are all STEM related degrees that students will be able to do. Again, no matter what program you're in, you're eligible at the end to apply for 1 year of OPT, the work authorization afterwards. If you're in any of these fields, you can apply for the 2-year extension. So you get total of 3 years. So again, all of these programs on this slide, with the exception of communication design and environmental studies, are all eligible for STEM. And let me actually go back and look at, as well as our kinesiology program. So it's exercise science, wellness, that is also STEM. And that, I believe, is it. Yeah, so it's mostly this slide. So, and yeah, and these are also very, computer science is our number one of our most popular programs at the university, as well as for international students. We have a lot of international students in the the computer science program. Yeah, but I do want to give a shout out for communication design. While it is not a STEM field, students are getting amazing jobs in this. It's actually one program we're really well known for at this moment, and we really have hit a chord with the industry. Students are getting direct pay out of college, 6-figure jobs with communication design. They are, yeah, recruiters are looking for recruiters are looking for all of the programs and all of these students, but particularly communication design is really hot right now for us. So even though you'll only have the 1 year of work experience right off the bat, it's going to be a pretty good thing. And yeah, and of course you're going to be pretty marketable afterwards as well, back home or anywhere else. So so yeah, so that's that.
Perfect. There's a question from Karen, and she wants to know, one, whether the bachelor's in communication design is a 4 years bachelor's, or do you have 3 or 4 years, some of them?
No, all of our programs are designed for 4 years, with the exception of we do have a nursing program, a BSN. That is actually designed for students who have already been in California or in the United States and have earned their associate's degree in nursing. So it's a degree completion program. So you're only doing your last 2 years at our university. We have to be transferring from a US community college for that. All of our other programs are 4-year design programs. And yeah, that includes communication design. It's a 4-year program.
Perfect. One more thing that basically is attractive is basically your low cost, your scholarships. Okay, you have a good scholarship though, basically. So the scholarship is purely on academic. If I get it from you, there is no additional requirement the student has to apply. And one more thing is the priority deadline. So the student have to apply before the priority deadline to be eligible for scholarship, or they can apply anytime?
They can apply anytime. We encourage students to apply for the priority deadline, because that's going to help make sure that they get their preferred housing, they get that guaranteed housing. Also that they are applied or admitted before we start registering students for the semester. So make sure you get the preferred courses. And because if you don't apply until the final deadline, we've already started registration at that point. And so you're not going to get your first choice classes and all that stuff. So really encourage students to apply by those priority deadlines of April 1 for fall, and October 1 for spring admission. So you can apply after that, but we really encourage students to apply by those priority deadlines. The scholarship, it's heavily focused on academics, but we do also want to see, again, students to apply. We'll see your transcripts, of course, already, but then there's basically a 3-prompt essay you write. Of one, tell us about your academic experience. Tell us what you've overcome, that you've been able to achieve your strong academics. 2, how are you involved in your community? How have you been a leader? What have you done to really stand out and serve your community? And 3, what does this mean for you financially? What have you had to overcome financially? How would this make a difference in your life from a financial perspective? So that's basically a short essay. Students are needing to write those 3 prompts, and then we look at their grades, we look at essay, and I'm sorry, we require a 1-letter recommendation for the scholarship as well. So you do need to have a letter of recommendation. And so that is the criteria. Then we have a scholarship panel that reviews those, and there's a rubric they go through to really assess those and to give those out. Every year we do give about 10 scholarships every year. So again, it really is going to our top students. It is not every student that's going to apply. So students do need to have pretty strong grades just to start with, and then again have an ability to articulate why this would really mean a difference for them and how they've been a leader and a difference maker in the community.
Perfect. Now, I want to tell something important to all international students is to apply early. The deadline starts in October 1st. Why? Because if your profile is good, and if your profile is really good and you have the 3 essays and you have the letter of recommendations, your chance of scholarship is more. The reason is because when you apply late, suppose if the 10 scholarships are given, your profile may be very good, but you are late and you may not get any scholarships. So understand the importance of deadlines, understand when to apply. If you apply early, the application starts by October 1 for fall, so you can start applying by October 1. And so that in case, suppose your documents, any documents are missing, you still have time to basically give those documents. You're not late. Your application is well before time, and if your profile is good, then you have a chance of getting scholarship. And most important is the cost is affordable. It's $16,700, which is very, very affordable. Which as a California State University at California location, and wonderful. It's quite affordable, and this becomes a star selling point of the presentation.
Yeah. Thank you. One other thing about the application process that I should have clarified as well. We work on what's called a rolling basis, which just means as you apply, as you send your documents, as soon as you have a complete application, we will review it. So we don't wait until May or April to review everything. We're reviewing things as they come in. So again, the earlier you apply, the earlier you can start planning your studies, planning to get your visa, doing that whole process to make sure you can come here as a student. So we will, it takes 2 or 3 weeks really for us to review documents. But as soon as you are applying, we're going to start reviewing all of that. So get us a complete application, and of course work with Rich and his team on that process. But as soon as we get that complete application, we will start reviewing that. So we want to give you all the time in the world to get here. So yeah, it is really, I do encourage you to apply early. Yeah, and I do see there's a question in the chat. Looks like there's a question about the WES evaluation. So a WES evaluation. So we only require students to submit any sort of evaluation. So it's a credit evaluation if you are a transfer student. So if you have any sort of college credit, so if you're applying as a graduate student or as a transfer student, you've taken some university college courses, then we require a form, what's called a foreign credential evaluation. WES is one of the main ones out there. There's a few others that we do accept as well. But if you're a first-time freshman, you're applying, you're straight from your high school, we're just going to look at your higher secondary or your what's called the secondary, your high school transcripts basically. So depends on where you're coming from, but no evaluation on your high school work. We do all that evaluation internally.
Okay. I did not ask any questions on master's program because there were only 5 graduate programs, and one of them is MBA. So I want to ask some question on master's program, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Perfect. One, do you accept 15 years of education, or does it require 16 years of education to apply for a master's program?
I believe as long as I cannot answer that right now. I will have to look into that of whether, they require if the 3 years bachelor's would be okay. Let me look into that and confirm that. I'll have to email you back on that.
Perfect. Second is basically, we understand about, is any GRE, GMAT required for the master's program or not required?
So that does differ program to program and what they're looking for. What is very typical is, so one program might require a 3.0 GPA, the equivalent of a US 3.0 GPA for admission. But if you're just under that, then if you're maybe at 2.75 or 2.8, then they might require you to take the GRE. And I think our MBA or a GMAT. And our MBA programs like that. I think social work is like that, to where it sort of is conditional based upon where your grades are. So if you have strong academics, A lot of them are not going to require that, but some of them would require that. One specific thing on the MBA, because we do have an MBA program. However, it is a fully online MBA program. We do not have actually an in-person MBA. So you are welcome to apply for the MBA program, but you would not be eligible to come into the United States and study that. You would be studying that from back home. So I know sometimes that is a drawback for students. A lot of students are looking to come here to the United States for the studies. So we do accept international students, but you would have to be, you cannot come into the country because immigration requirements don't allow you to study fully online.
Thank you for just clearing that. That was very, very important point, that the MBA program is an online program and not a full-time program that student can go and study at the on campus. You have already mentioned the turnaround time. I was going to ask that. So 2 to 3 weeks is the turnaround time after your application and documents are submitted. 2 to 3 weeks. In 2 to 3 weeks, you get your undergraduate admission decisions. And that's also is very important in terms of 10 seats. So if the 10 seats goes early, then basically you have to apply early to qualify for the scholarships or to basically get an admission, because they have a student to faculty ratio of 20 to 1 or 30 to 1. So look at that in student to faculty ratio, which is, they will also have American students. So international student acceptance rate would be lesser. So apply early to get an admission if you are interested in this university. Don't be late, apply early, get an admission so that you have enough time later on to decide on where you want to go. And this university would be one of the good universities in terms of location and cost. Wonderful. Thanks, Brian, for answering all those questions, for clearing out so many doubts. And wonderful. Any final tips or thoughts that you want to share basically to our students?
No, I think we've covered a lot of it. You stressed a lot of things that I would typically stress. And so I think just, communication is key. I would say, honestly, if you have questions throughout the application process, obviously work with Richard and his team. Once you're in touch with us and, you're working on your I-20, your immigration documents, all that, just stay in touch with us. We're going to reach out to you about, hey, here's all the arrival information. Here's how to apply. Here's how to get get in your classes and everything like that. Just make sure you're staying in touch with us and also, Education Abroad Counseling Center, so that everyone is aware of what you're doing. We have some students sometimes just sort of show up without having communicated with us, and it makes it a little difficult because they haven't done all the things they need to do. So, just communicate, make sure you're checking your email. That's how we primarily will communicate with people. So please just stay in touch with us throughout the whole process, and we'd love to see you and hopefully welcome you to campus very soon.
Yes,